So hello, my name is Alexandra Nisenoff, and today I'm going to be talking about the ways that ad blockers and tracking protection tools can negatively impact users' experiences of websites and the steps that users take when they encounter these tools. This work was done in collaboration with my lab mates Arthur, Madison, Grant, Maya, and then advisor Blase, all of whom are at the University of Chicago. Online advertisements and tracking have become incredibly pervasive online. And as a result, many tools have been developed to let users block ads and limit some of the tracking that they might experience. These can be extensions like uBlock Origin or Privacy Badger that users can install in their browsers, or built directly into browsers like Intelligent Tracking Protection in Safari or Enhanced Tracking Protection in Firefox. Unfortunately, these tools can have the unintended consequence of causing websites to not function the way that users expect. Here we have Georgia's COVID dashboard. Highlighted in red, we see the interactive data from this website is shown when the page is visited in the standard mode of Firefox's Enhanced Tracking Protection. Now, if you visit the same page with the strict mode of Enhanced Tracking Protection, you see that the data is missing. We call instances like this breakage. This breakage plays a role in what can be deployed in terms of defaults for ad blocking and tracking protection tools. But despite its importance, the ways breakage manifests for users hadn't been systematically investigated. Papers have mentioned that privacy-preserving tools can cause breakage, but at best they give a few examples of the ways breakage can manifest, or will simplify it down to a binary of whether breakage exists or not. As I'll show in future slides, we are interested in creating a taxonomy of the unique ways that users can experience breakage. We are also interested in what actions users take when they face these issues. And finally, we're interested in if users actually cared about the breakage they were experiencing. To answer these questions, we conducted a two-part study. First, we analyzed reviews and issue reports for ad blocking and privacy-preserving extensions. And we also designed a small-scale online survey of the users of these tools. So we're going to start with the reviews and issue reports analysis. And for the following slides, these 10 browser extensions are the ones that we considered. One thing that relatively tech-savvy people can do when they encounter an issue with their extension is hop on GitHub and submit an issue report, making GitHub a good place to see how things have gone wrong for users. For example, here we have a report from when a user visited the Washington Post with uBlock Origin enabled and found that they had missing images and text associated with some of the articles. However, not all users are going to immediately jump to GitHub to report their issues, but some users might be more willing to go leave a negative review where they had initially downloaded the extension in places like the Chrome Web Store, Firefox Browser Add-on Store, or the Mac App Store. So here are some examples of reviews that users have left for some of the extensions we were considering. We see that the first two reviews mention breakage, and as a result, have a low rating. The third is just a common positive review that doesn't mention breakage at all. Here we can also see that these reviews can have follow-up posts. These can be from developers or from other users of the extensions. This is also true for the GitHub issue reports. With that in mind, we then collected the reviews and issue reports from those 10 extensions that I had mentioned earlier from GitHub and those 3 extension marketplaces. We chose to keep only reviews with 3 or fewer stars to prioritize negative experiences that users had. After all of our filtering, we ended up with almost 19,000 reviews and issue reports and 34,423 total posts. Our research team then conducted manual qualitative coding on these tens of thousands of posts to understand how users were experiencing breakage and what they were doing about it. Through the manual qualitative analysis, we developed a taxonomy that included 38 unique ways that users discussed breakage. Some of these types of breakage were more commonly mentioned, such as users visiting a page and having it either take an incredibly long time to load or simply not loading altogether. Another common experience was users clicking on a video to start them and then having the video simply not play. There were also types of breakage that were less commonly mentioned but did still show up, such as users having problems uploading or downloading their files. Users also encountered more recaptions than they otherwise would have had to complete if they didn't have their extension installed. While most of the types of breakage we identified appeared to be unintentional, we also considered the case where extensions had been detected and users were potentially blocked from accessing the website. As I mentioned earlier, not only were we interested in the ways breakage manifest, we were also interested in the actions that users took. And by looking at these reviews and issue reports, we found 15 unique ways that people discussed the actions they took. This included actions directly related to the extension, such as disabling it or entirely uninstalling it, as well as things like clearing their browser history and data, or even switching over to another browser. By far the most common of these mitigation strategies involved taking actions that limited how much the extension was blocking, which includes things like disabling the extension or fully uninstalling it, both of which could expose users to more ads or more tracking than they would have otherwise experienced. While the reviews and issue reports gave us a good sense of the types of breakage that people were experiencing and the steps they took to address them, we were looking at a sample of users that had gone out of their way to post publicly about these issues. And we had also intentionally selected people that had negative experiences. So conducting this survey gave us the chance to hear from a broader group of users and ask about their more general experiences of breakage. In total, we had 95 participants that were recruited through Prolific. They were asked either about privacy-preserving extensions that they used or privacy-preserving browsers that they used. Today, I'm going to be focusing on the 46 users that were asked questions about browser extensions. If you're interested in hearing more about the results from the users that use privacy-preserving browsers, I recommend checking out the paper. This heat map shows the proportion of surveyed users that said they would attempt to fix each of these types of breakage on different types of websites. Lighter colors mean that fewer people would try to fix the breakage, and darker colors mean that more users would try to fix the issue. With this group of participants, the lowest number said that they would attempt to fix their primary news page loading slowly or having a missing image. Across all types of websites, the lowest number said they would try to fix each type of breakage on news websites. And across all types of breakage, the issue of missing images seemed to be the type of breakage that users were the least likely to try to fix. In the opposite direction, the largest number of users said that they would try to fix their primary streaming site not loading, followed closely by not being able to log into their primary banking website. For those types of breakage, you can clearly see a connection between the type of breakage and the action that a user might want to take on that type of website. But if you say look at issues with style and formatting, a few more people said they would try to fix this type of issue on a work or school website, where there isn't quite as clear a connection. The big takeaway here is that there appears to be an interaction between the type of breakage and the category of website it occurs on. Over 90% of the survey participants said that they had experienced at least one type of breakage that we had identified in the review analysis. And every participant that reported experiencing breakage had used at least one of the mitigation strategies we had also identified. There were differences in the percentages of users that reported experiencing each type of breakage and using each mitigation strategy between the survey and the review analysis, which is to be expected considering the different populations and contexts. Our earlier review analysis relied on users that had gone out of their way to mention breakage in a public forum, so we were also interested in how many of our survey participants had taken these actions. It turns out that 67% said that they had never reported breakage in any way. If developers or filterless maintainers receive these reports of breakage, there's the chance that they can prevent other users from experiencing the same issues. When users did say that they had reported breakage, they most frequently said they had used a built-in feature in their tools, such as the report broken site highlighted in the Privacy Badger interface. Meanwhile, only one participant used an online review and one used GitHub as a means to report breakage, which further necessitates investigating this through the survey. Now for just a quick recap. And in the study, we created a taxonomy of the 38 ways that users discuss experiencing breakage, and we find that users take a wide range of actions when faced with this breakage, and it seems to be dependent on the context, be that the type of breakage or the type of website it occurs on. And finally, we find that many users remember having experienced breakage while using existing ad blocking and tracking protection tools. Thank you so much for listening. I'd be happy to answer any questions.